Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I know how small of a town Batiste is. I can't remember exactly, but it's a couple of hundred probably people.
Not many.
So that's it's a very remote rural area, so we're very proud of that lady. Well, I'm very pleased today to have two Oklahomans that are on our panel, and the next lady, I actually know both these ladies, but worked with Margo on past boards and commissions when I was in the state as lieutenant governor, so thanks for coming up here today. Ms. Gray-Proctor is a chairwoman of the National Center for American Indian Enterprise Development. The center is the first national organization that is solely dedicated to developing American Indian economic self-sufficiency through business ownership. Ms. Gray-Proctor is also the owner of the Horizon Engineering Service Company and has received many entrepreneur awards in her own right, including award for her operation of the State Business of the Year from the American Indian Chamber of Commerce in Oklahoma. So we're glad to have you here today, and we welcome your expertise.
Thank you. Chairman Schuler and Ranking Member Lukenmeyer, I am Margo Gray-Proctor of Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm a tribal member of the Osage Nation and president of the Horizon Companies and a third-generation entrepreneur. My small business provides engineering and other services to federal, state, tribal, and local governments and private sector customers. I was recently elected chairman of the board of directors for the National Center for American Indian Enterprise Development. This year we celebrated our 40th anniversary of servicing Indian country. Of the National Center on the new Native American Business Development Enhancement Act of 2009, H.R. 1834, here are our thoughts on this new proposal. First, we are delighted that H.R. 1834 would authorize this office with $2 million annually and install an associate administrator so that this office can continue to outreach efforts and oversee new grant program proposed. We recommend that this office also coordinate Native American participation in SBA's 8A program, generally and specifically in the SBA's ongoing 8A reform agenda, to improve the accountability, transparencies, and efficiencies and success of the 8A program as it applies to Alaska Natives and tribal enterprises and their joint venture and other partnering arrangements. The new associate administration should also work with other SBA divisions to improve the access of tribes, Alaska Native corporations, and other Native entrepreneurs to procurement assistance, small business loans, innovative research support, and other SBA programs. Second, the National Center and the other national Native organizations support substantial funding increases for existing programs that have a proven track record of effectively targeting business management, financial assistance, and procurement technical assistance to tribes, Alaska Native corporations, and enterprises owned by them and Native entrepreneurs. We support Section 2 of H.R. 1834 and applaud the sponsor's recent decision to increase the authorization to $15 million for FY 2010 and $17 million for FY 2011 for a new program of grants and to entities designated for funding. We like the flexibility in designating entities for grant support as long as existing NABECs, APTACs, and Native CDFIs qualify for designation. If grant funding is made available before SBA finalizes new regulations to designate future grant recipients, we recommend that the Associate Administrator distribute those grants funds prorated to existing Native business and procurement assistance centers. Section 3 of H.R. 34 would authorize $7 million in each of the funding years 2010 and 11 for additional grants for which only existing SBDCs would be eligible if they operate in states with Native American population or at least 1%. So SBDCs in 15 states would qualify. Ultimately, we would like to see more partnering between the SBDCs, the NABECs, and APTACs to cross-fertilize their respective capabilities and training. Therefore, we think it would make sense to require or encourage SBDC to partner with the NABEC, APTAC in applying for grant under Section 3. The National Center speaks from experience. We are the longest-serving Native business development assistance provider in the United States. The National Center has evolved into a national organization with nonprofit business and procurement technical assistance centers nationwide that support our mission to develop American Indian private sector as it means to help our Native communities become self-sufficient. Our board of directors consists of tribal businesses and political leaders who have always played a pivotal role in spurring small business growth and breaking down barriers impeding Native companies' success. The National Center operates 3 NABECs, and several offices function as American Indian Procurement Assistance Centers. All are staffed primarily by Native American businesses and procurement consultants with experience and training to deal with business challenges unique to Indian country, as noted in my written statement. We have a great track record of having assisted 80% of the tribes in the lower 48 states and more than 25,000 Native enterprises and trained over 10,000 tribal members. Over the last 4 years alone, the National Center has helped its clients capture $2.5 billion in contract awards and financing, translating to over 50,000 jobs. The National Center was the first Indian business enterprise funded by the Minority Business Development Agency after it created in 1971. The new MBDA now funds 30 minority business centers nationwide and has supported 8 NABECs until last year. There are only now 6 NABECs, and we operate 3 of them in Arizona, California, and Washington State. There used to be NABECs in Minnesota and North Carolina. Mr. Chairman, the first North Carolina NABEC was operated by the Eastern Band of Cherokees, but the funding was very low and they did not seek renewal when MBDA re-advertised it. The National Center did operate it, the NABEC, and we won, but we soon realized why the Eastern Band lost interest. You see, under the Bush administration, MBDA instituted a strategic growth initiative and directed its centers to help larger companies that were capable of winning larger contracts in business financing, presumably so that there would be more bang for the federal buck invested in its centers. This approach can work more in urban areas, but it's unrealistic for rural areas where mostly small businesses operate in Indian country. We hope that MBDA goes back to the drawing board and decides to open another NABEC in its southeast region soon. Native American business development was flatlined during the Bush administration, and so we are looking at more additional millions to support the minority centers. By comparison, the SBA has received substantial increases in recent years for its small business development centers. This funding disparity is what prompted the National Center to make the case for the need to elevate Native American business development issues within the Commerce Department and at the SBA. At our RES conference this year, we had over 25,000 individuals, 320 exhibitors for 2 days of business workshops, a day-long procurement pavilion with hundreds of bid-matching meetings. Several national Native organizations recommended that Congress, 1, authorize and adequately fund SBA's Office of Native American Affairs, and 2, provide substantially more funding for business assistance centers devoted specifically to the business development needs of Indian country. We are delighted that Congress is responding so quickly. In closing, I want to thank the subcommittee for inviting the views of the National Center as the longest-serving small business assistance provider with the broadest reach in Indian country. We look forward to working with you and your staff on this important Native American entrepreneurial development proposal as it proceeds through the legislative process.